Hello, I'm Rachel Robinson, and I'm an education specialist in the Early Childhood Division of the Texas Education Agency. Thank you for joining me today to share some information about early learning partnerships during COVID-19 and how we can continue to increase access and elevate quality pre-kindergarten programs during this crisis through partnerships. Our objectives for today are to better understand the purpose and benefits of partnerships, to better understand the difference between formal and informal partnership models, to learn about ways to partner during the COVID-19 crisis, and to consider ways LEAs can leverage partnership proposals they received during their full-day waiver application process. Early learning partnerships are collaborations between local education agencies, or LEAs, and private early learning programs, or ELPs, or Head Start programs. Partnerships can fall into two different categories, informal and formal. A formal partnership is one where eligible 3- and/or 4-year-old pre-kindergarten students who attend an ELP are dually enrolled in the ELP and the LEA. The LEA is then able to pass through state funding to the ELP. It is important to note that in a formal partnership, the partnership classroom must meet all of the requirements of each partner's regulatory agencies. In order for state funding to be passed through to the ELP, the partnership classroom must meet all of the pre-kindergarten state requirements. For example, they must follow all enrollment procedures, hire a certified teacher, provide high-quality curriculum, and all of the other high-quality pre-kindergarten components. Formal partnerships are certainly feasible and beneficial during the COVID-19 crisis. However, it is understandable that this may not be the best model for every LEA. There may not be capacity at some LEAs to start a formal partnership at this time. An informal partnership is one where an LEA and ELP partner to share resources, data, professional development, or other services. The students are not dually enrolled, therefore no direct funding is passed through. Informal partnerships are a good fit when an ELP does not serve enough eligible children to make a formal partnership work. They are also a great way to begin establishing relationships between partners before moving into a formal partnership. We will discuss examples of both partnership models in this presentation. Early learning partnerships serve a wide variety of purposes. The beauty of a partnership is that it can be created to serve specific purposes that benefit a particular early childhood community. There are many reasons why an LEA and ELP will enter into a partnership. Here are some of the most common. Many of these reasons for partnerships listed have been significantly elevated by the unique situation COVID-19 has created for families, LEAs, and ELPs. Now, the guiding question, what is in the best interest of our children and families, is more important than ever. So today we will look more carefully at ways partnerships can serve LEAs and ELPs in providing the best support for their families. The COVID-19 crisis presents familiar benefits from early learning partnerships, and it also creates new benefits for LEAs to consider. The COVID-19 crisis has created new working situations for many families, and LEAs can build community by providing a wider range of instructional programs and environments through partnering with their local ELPs. Many ELPs offer an extended day schedule, which better meets the needs of working families and working parents. A partnership can provide an opportunity for LEAs and ELPs in a community to begin to align curriculum and instructional practices. This will benefit students by filling gaps in skill development caused by excessive absences, which could impact school readiness for young children. The high quality and continuity created by a partnership will help ensure smoother transitions for children and families when they move into kindergarten at the LEA. ELPs have remained open throughout the crisis, and many have already developed best practices for serving pre-kindergarten students during this unpredictable time. A partnership will create opportunities for ELP staff to share their knowledge and resources with LEAs. Districts can now benefit from the experiences ELPs have already endured. The COVID-19 crisis has created disruption for our families and children in many ways, and we can lessen transitions and create safe spaces for young children by using partnerships to create continuity and predictability. Stakeholders may be asking, but why would we partner right now? This school year is not normal, and we don't really have time to create a partnership. COVID-19 has created many challenges for LEAs and childcare providers. Partnerships can be a way to overcome some of these challenges. An LEA may want to consider a partnership during this crisis in order to help the LEA meet the full-day requirement, build capacity for serving more eligible students, reduce class size, to create a continuity of care for children, to create an opportunity for LEAs and ELPs to share best practices during COVID-19, or to allow the LEA to share remote learning materials and other resources with an ELP. Let's go through some examples of ways partnerships can still work and are beneficial during this crisis. We will discuss each of these in a bit more detail. This is a good time to mention the fact that we know that COVID-19 has disrupted families in ways that will have ongoing effects, even after the virus is controlled. Establishing partnerships now can serve as a safety net for providing financial stability, school readiness, and trauma support for families with young children. As I explained earlier, in a formal partnership, eligible 3- and/or 4-year-old pre-kindergarten students who attend an ELP are dually enrolled in the ELP and the LEA. Both programs will share services to ensure that students who are dually enrolled receive all the benefits of a high-quality pre-kindergarten program to prepare them for kindergarten. Here are a few points to consider in making initial decisions about building a formal partnership. The ELP will need to identify the minimum number of eligible children for the partnership class to make the partnership financially feasible for them. Partnership programs must meet the requirements and standards mandated by regulatory agencies for both the ELP and for the LEA. For example, TEA standards for high-quality pre-kindergarten components and child care licensing standards, along with any other requirements for their specific programs, must be followed. Time is required to develop relationships, get to know the stakeholders, get to know their gifts and needs, as well as for creating the MOU or the contract for the partnership. TEA, TWC, and the partnership recess grantees all have designated partnership specialists who can assist with this process. We will provide more information about the recess grantees at the end of this presentation. So now let's take a look at some ways formal partnerships can support early childhood communities. A formal partnership can serve districts as a way to meet the House Bill 3 full-day pre-kindergarten requirement. Districts can be creative in the way they use their formal partnership during COVID-19 to provide the best services for their families. For example, to serve all children whose families request on-campus instruction, smaller groups of children can attend class on a campus, while other students attend at the ELP site. An LEA may not have adequate space to serve all eligible 4-year-olds for the full day, but a local ELP may have extra slots or classrooms available for the full day and provide before and after school care. A formal partnership will increase access to high-quality pre-kindergarten by serving more eligible children. As districts expect larger pre-kindergarten enrollment, due to the changing household employment situations, they can accommodate more students with a partnership. Some families want their 3 or 4-year-old children to continue to attend the ELP they attended during the COVID-19 crisis or during the summer. These children can be dually enrolled in the LEA, and they will receive the best both the LEA and ELP have to offer. The COVID-19 crisis has created new interest in starting or expanding pre-K3 partnerships because the half-day instruction allows LEAs and ELPs to serve greater numbers of children while providing greater access to funds. Programs for 3-year-olds receive half-day ADA funds and full-day CCA subsidy, which provides ELPs more funds to cover teacher costs and extended hours of care. Braiding the available funds created by a pre-K3 program allows more flexibility of services for the LEAs and the ELPs. A partnership can provide additional classroom space for pre-kindergarten students to attend for a full day of instruction. Additional space and staff can support the smaller class ratios required for on-site instruction during the COVID-19 crisis. Childcare providers offer smaller class sizes and more adults in classrooms with teaching assistants. This is a tremendous benefit to children who belong to partnership classes because they can receive more individual attention during this difficult time. A partnership can provide the opportunity for LEAs and ELPs in a community to provide continuity of care for families whose children have attended a local ELP during the COVID-19 crisis beginning in the spring and through the summer. The ELP has been the safe place for their children, and a formal partnership will allow the children to stay at their ELP while engaging in aligned curriculum and instructional practices. The children who have been engaging in remote instruction at a center can continue to participate remotely or in person as dually enrolled students. This will benefit students by eliminating the need to fill in gaps in skill development later, which could be caused by excessive absences. Continuity will increase school readiness for the students. For most districts with full-day pre-kindergarten waivers in place, the formal partnership will be the most helpful during COVID-19 and reopening. However, if a district is not prepared to jump right in, there are many other ways to support continuity of care for children by developing informal partnerships with ELPs in their communities. Let's learn about things to consider while planning and ways to partner informally during the COVID-19 crisis. Here are a few points to consider in making initial decisions about building an informal partnership. An informal model is a great option if an interested ELP doesn't serve enough eligible children to make a formal partnership sustainable. Informal partnerships do not dually enroll students, so no funding is passed from the LEA to the ELP. An informal partnership will require a time commitment and a signed agreement between stakeholders, even though there is not a legal contract. An informal partnership helps foster relationships in the early childhood community and supports children and families as they transition to kindergarten at an LEA. An informal partnership is a way to share resources that elevate the quality of pre-kindergarten programs at the LEA and the ELP. As I explained earlier, an informal partnership can be individualized to meet the needs and resources of the community. LEAs and ELPs can be innovative in creating a partnership that best serves their children and families. A professional development partnership can provide opportunities for ELPs and LEAs to leverage professional development and training for teachers and staff. A school readiness partnership could be extremely valuable for aligning instruction and sharing data with the goal of increasing school readiness. A family engagement partnership provides an opportunity for LEAs and ELPs to conduct family engagement activities together. A pre-K to kindergarten transition partnership will integrate family engagement, and school readiness practices to ensure a seamless move for children who attend pre-kindergarten at an ELP into a kindergarten program at an LEA. These children will be well prepared for success in kindergarten. Now let's take a look at some ways informal partnerships can support early childhood communities during COVID-19. Many ELPs have continued to serve families and children during the COVID-19 crisis. They have developed safety plans that have sustained them, and LEAs can benefit from their experience. An LEA that is reopening may benefit from creating an informal partnership with an ELP around professional development to share successes and challenges with COVID-19 best practices. Children attending at an ELP will eventually transition into the LEA. This is a great opportunity for the LEA and ELP to create an informal partnership around sharing resources, including materials, curriculum, and/or community resources to support children and families. The COVID-19 crisis has disrupted lives of families and children served by our early childhood communities in ways that affect them now and possibly into the future. LEAs and ELPs have access to a multitude of community resources to support with very basic needs of food and clothing, or physical and mental health, or even job training. An informal partnership will create open communication and opportunities for stakeholders to share services like trauma-informed care trainings, or mental health hotlines, or resources for food, and many more. Before we end, I want to share some information around the full-day pre-kindergarten waiver process and how it has brought awareness of partnerships to the forefront for many districts across the state. House Bill 3 was passed in 2019. With House Bill 3 came the requirement that districts provide full-day pre-kindergarten for all eligible 4-year-olds. A full day is defined as 75,600 operational minutes. For a variety of reasons, some LEAs have not been able to meet the full-day requirement. TEA will allow LEAs to apply for a full-day pre-kindergarten exemption if they are unable to provide full-day instruction for either of these two circumstances. The LEA would be required to construct classroom facilities in order to provide pre-kindergarten classes, or implementation of full-day pre-kindergarten would result in fewer eligible children being enrolled. In order for an exemption to be granted, the LEA must first publicly solicit and consider partnership proposals from public or private childcare providers. The proposals must be considered in a public meeting, which in most cases is a regular board meeting. LEAs may request a waiver for 1, 2, or 3 years, and they may apply for a renewal one time. LEAs that applied for the full-day pre-kindergarten waiver last year may have proposals from ELPs on file. The COVID-19 crisis has created an opportunity for LEAs to revisit and reconsider some of those proposals. Reopening schools is the perfect time to take a second look at proposals they have on hand and contact their local ELPs to see how they can work together to best serve families of their eligible 4-year-old children. The proposals districts received last year that did not seem necessary may now be unopened gifts that they can use to everyone's advantage. TWC, TEA, and recess grantees can help LEAs and ELPs connect and develop proposals that meet their current needs. Educational Service Centers can support TEA and LEAs by sharing guidance around the proposal solicitation process. This process should serve as a way to begin creating relationships between LEAs and their local early learning providers. When the process is implemented thoughtfully, it can be the first step in expanding the capacity of high-quality pre-kindergarten in a community. Here are some tips for a successful process. Spread the word by letting childcare providers know that the LEA is accepting partnership proposals. LEAs can use their website, social media, or local media to advertise. They can also target groups in the community that work with childcare providers and their local workforce board for marketing. Allow time to create and share a proposal form for providers to complete. It should request general contact information and a space for providers to explain their interest in participating in a partnership. Providers will need time to respond to LEAs with their proposals. It may be helpful to conduct a short meeting to share partnership information with interested providers. Be flexible and open to opportunities to partner. Keep in mind that one proposal might not meet the needs of the LEA right now, but many ideas are worth revisiting in the future because needs and circumstances always change. The COVID-19 crisis has shown us new interest in partnerships from many childcare providers and LEAs. Set clear goals in the partnership solicitation and allow providers to state the goals for their proposal too. Remember that it takes cooperation to create a successful partnership, so be ready to compromise if necessary during the planning phase. Goals can always be modified. If you are interested in learning more about early learning partnerships, you can go to the TEA Early Learning Partnerships webpage. There you will find the Partnerships Guidebook along with many other resources that will be helpful supports as you move through the process of creating a partnership. TEA and the Texas Workforce Commission have partnership specialists who are ready to offer support in getting started with a partnership. Through the Regional Early Childhood Education Support Specialist Grant, there are 4 partnership grantees across the state who are also available to provide support. These grantees are providing support in regions 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 4, and 20. Here is contact information for the recess grantees and partnership specialists at TWC and TEA who are knowledgeable and prepared to share guidance about partnerships. This information is also available on the TEA Early Learning Partnership website. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to supporting you on your partnership journey.